Well, here we are again. It is Wednesday, December 27th, 2023, and I am live, and we are going to draw. If you take a look at my desktop here, you can see how disorganized I can be. But actually, let's close this. I'm gonna open up the project files, and actually, I think for the sake of anyone who's been paying attention, or anybody who may pay attention in the future, because I do plan on keeping these up. Today, let's try. Why am I not finding a finder? Let's try opening up an older project. Excuse me, another page that I haven't been focusing on as of recently. Rough sketches, all. So we'll do this one, and then we'll do all. And this should launch. I believe this is the newest version of Photoshop. Oh boy. Had a long day at work today, and I'm pretty exhausted, but I will get through my hour of sketching today. Maybe we'll go through this and grab something, and we'll just stick on one drawing today. Who knows? Maybe that's what'll work. Oh, this is from yesterday. I posted this. I wonder if anybody actually is going to come to the stream. Maybe, maybe not. What is this? Oh, so this is the larger stuff. Let's go into the book. And let's grab something from the back. Something way out there. Ooh, this is a good one, I think. Ooh, this is interesting. Why don't we do this one? Isn't anyone hanging out there, baby? Wants to jump into pupil. Oh, interesting. So this is, here's some inside baseball, actually. This is the inner machinations of Oliver's mind, which are an enigma. The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma. I'll give you $25 if you can guess what character from what show that is. All right, so we're on gray, which is good. I'm worried if I'm gonna tear these pants. Let me grab something a little more comfortable. I'll be right back. I'll make up for the lost time. So, I could tell a short story. It's not an incredible story or anything, but let's go for it. So today, I work in downtown Chicago in an area called the West Loop, which is interesting because they say manifestation is a thing. I've always wanted to work in the West Loop. I remember when I was a student, when I was still in college, or when I went to college rather, and there was another student who was a pretty ambitious guy. He was always involved in different programs, and I wasn't super interested in getting to know him, but as another ambitious person in the program, it seemed kind of almost like appropriate that he and I would work together. He noticed how serious I was about things, and we had to shoot just a video for some sort of like media theory class. It was a really interesting class. Mostly they filled up the department with classes like that because they hadn't invested a lot of money into the equipment like some of the other film schools. But so we're in West Loop, which is a very bougie part of the city of Chicago. I mean, very cosmopolitan in a sense. And Google had built a oh, that's not how her so she would actually be more like this, maybe with her mouth open. So yeah, we were downtown, and I said, wow, I really like this area. Now, I'm not from Chicago. This guy, he grew up in the city of Chicago, a little bit outside, but still in the city nonetheless, not downtown, but within the greater Chicago area. And he grew up there, like born, and his mom was in real estate, and she had acquired a beautiful home for him to live in, and he had the whole floor of a building to himself, and his mother would greet him from the second floor in Spanish, and she loved Anthony so much. Still does, I assume. But and anyway, I see this and I go, oh, this is the area I should be in. And he goes, oh, I wondered. He's like, I thought you were like a robot. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I thought you were like a robot. You just like keep getting things done. And I was like, this guy doesn't have any flaws. And now I see what your flaw is. And I was like, what's my flaw? And he says, you're arrogant. And I was like, why am I arrogant? Well, you're arrogant for saying that you should live down here, because this is, one of the, this is the bougiest area in Chicago. And I thought to myself, oh, and that really affected me. And I talked about it a little bit. And I was actually living with my cousin at the time. And he was basically my cousin Cole. And he was like, I wouldn't worry about what that guy's opinion is, which is, Cole isn't always solid for advice, but that was pretty solid advice, actually. And in hindsight, because I was really bothered by it, which is a real big problem for me, getting bothered by what other people think. It's not a good attribute to have. I think some of it was learned behavior, but at this point in my life, I should really know how to manage things like that. But anyway, so yeah, I live in the West Loop, and which is downtown. And no, I don't live there. I work there. I don't live in the West Loop. I wish. I dated a girl who lives in the West Loop. It's really nice, for the most part. I mean, it's more of a business district, so therefore, on the weekends it kind of gets dead. But honestly, I kind of like that. So I really do like all the attributes of it. Attributes attributing to what it might be. And so anyway, my story is today I went to work and worked a full day. It was pretty exhausting for the most part, but it was good stuff. And, I wanted to get work done before the new year, because tomorrow's my last day for the week. And I was going to the gym. And on the way to the gym, I went to the gym. I did a nice little workout, nothing too crazy, but I just worked, walked through some stuff, did some stretching, stuff that's good for your health. I did a little bit of lifting, nothing crazy, nothing like barely a workout, but I went through the motions. And then as I'm leaving, I realized I don't have my CTA card, which is because I take the train home. And I'm like, oh no, but not even just that. I don't have any money. Is my wallet's gone. So I think maybe I left it in the locker room in the gym. I look, it's not there. I check again, and I think, well, I probably left it on my desk at work, and I don't think anybody's there anymore. So I'm just going to have to go without one. So I call an Uber, and then I think, why don't you check the gym one more time? Because if you left it there, that could be really bad. Even though it's like kind of a more exclusive gym, it doesn't mean, maybe someone would turn it in, maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? And I look, it's not there. And so I have to call an Uber. And I canceled the first Uber, which isn't free. And then I took the Uber, and I thought to myself, oh, geez, I got this Uber, and I'm going to have to get another Uber to go to work tomorrow. It could be worse. And these kinds of things, I kind of look at the optimism, which is like, well, you're getting a ride, and you should enjoy this ride, right? You're getting this service. Oop, come on, merge. Merge. There we go. You're getting this ride. This is a service. You should enjoy this service. You should enjoy this service. And so I kind of do, and then I come home, and I take my keys out of my pocket, and what do you know, in the opposite pocket that I ever put my wallet in is my wallet. I don't recall putting it there, but it was there nonetheless. And so that's my story. I thought I lost my wallet, and I didn't. That's how vanilla my lifestyle has gotten. That's a story that I took all the way to the stream. Oh boy, the people on the stream, they're really going to enjoy this story about how I thought I lost a wallet, but I didn't. Incredible. Not really. Okay, so here we are. We have our cat resting on a pillow. There, you know what's interesting? I feel like a lot of the essence of these drawings gets lost. I think that, I need to sketch this out a little bit more. Yes. I almost ended up going to see Drunken Shakespeare over the weekend. So they have this show called Drunken Shakespeare. And what it is that actors will... So these are trained Shakespearean actors, which is still a thing. I think I'm sure there's many theater programs around the country, in the United States and in Europe, that where the students end up studying theater, and the majority of what they study is Shakespeare. And I decided not to go down that route, but there seems to really be a lot that you can learn in Western literature through Shakespeare, or just the concept of how to give people a show. But anyway, I digress. So at this particular place, you can you go to a show, and there are, I believe, 5 actors, and they know a library of Shakespearean shows. And what happens is they decide what show they're going to do, and one of the actors is going to take 5 shots of liquor, and then they're going to get through the whole show, which is pretty amazing. And I was supposed to go tomorrow evening, and then my friend who bought the tickets said, "Hey, would you know it? But I actually didn't buy enough tickets, and everything's sold out," which I believe. So it's a little bit of a bummer, because I thought that I'd have that. But then, lo and behold, a friend reaches out and says, "Hey, I have a little shindig going on. You're welcome to, if you'd like to come and hang out for New Year's Eve." And I said, "Sure as shit, that is something I am interested in. Abso-freaking-lutely." Oh, the holidays. What up, Mr. Streamer? Hey, what's up, man? We were talking about you at work today. Obviously, I can't get into the details, but I will say I learned a little bit about a company called Spin Master, and I did I did some digging through LinkedIn. It was towards the end of the day where I really didn't have anything, there really wasn't much I could do with the time left, and so I kind of went through LinkedIn, not because I'm looking for a new place to work, but I would like to know what the options are. But I started looking at Spin Master as a company, and I looked into the founders. I actually met a pretty interesting guy recently. His name's Mark Rosenberg. And he McGruff left the chat. Mark Rosenberg, he launched the Furby in the 90s. And he was out to lunch with us and sat across from me, and I chatted him up, and he asked me about Dino. And I informed him that Dino isn't in that great a shape. And he said, "Give me his number now." And I was like, all right. And so I did some texting around and was able to give him the information. I think he was happy about that aspect. So let's see here. Maybe we'll make her eyes a little bit bigger. Maybe a little bit of drooling. I drool when I sleep. I love sleep. But anyway, the invention that G2 blew up with that dog, were you a part of that? That's dope. Dino's the man. Yeah, Dino really is the man. That guy doesn't get enough credit. and probably did not get enough severance. When I was in the process of learning how to build toys and sculpt, I realized every single step of the way that the details had been figured out on a proprietary level. Like the work had been figured out by Dino, and if you just followed Dino's notes, everything would be fine. And I heard that from every person I talked to. No, you weren't part of the dog? Okay, so that dog was like a big deal, right? That dog was a really big deal. Was the dog before you? I'm actually kind of curious about that. That dog was really interesting. It seemed like that dog kind of came off like it was something, like 2 or 3 years before me. Okay. That dog seemed like something where you kind of improvise, like that they were just kind of messing around with stuff, just being curious, and then they kind of stumbled upon it. Because it doesn't seem like something you would come up with intuitively. It doesn't seem intuitive. But apparently, that dog was a big deal. And I saw some stuff on that. Actually, I saw Spin Master just acquired, they spent like $900 million on a toy company recently, I heard. It's kind of wild. But anyway, those guys that run G2, I was hearing some very flattering speak about them when they first started at our company. And I mean, they were spoken very highly of. I think one of the guys, I don't remember which one it was literally, he walked through the door and they hired him on the spot. So my story is something similar to that. Like I was basically hired right away, but not quite exactly that. And it sounded like this guy was really impressive. I think in my case, they just, it was so rare to find someone with my skill set that they financially were like, it's like when you're looking for an old Camaro or something and you're just like, I haven't seen this car. I want this car. I'm getting it. I think that's how they felt about me, where they were like, we need something like this around here. He's right here. Let's get him. And I think that's what it is. He was mechanical or electrical? I don't remember. Well, both of them work there. But anyway, regardless, Jeff spoke very highly of them. And then I briefly brought you up, and I was like, oh, yeah, my friend Drew worked for him. And he goes, Drew. And I was like, yeah, you spoke to him. And he said, well, Drew must be a really talented guy if he was working for those guys, which I'm assuming means that those guys were already electronically gifted or, capable, competent. Aw, shucks. Yeah, right? Aw, shucks. I'm really curious to know what their next draft pick is going to be out of all these, all these guys. I think they're waiting until after the holidays calm down, but they don't seem to be in a huge rush. So I really don't know what they're thinking. But, the electrical guy was my mentor and close homie still. So which one was the electrical guy? Was that Adam or what was it? Steve and Peter or Adam and Peter? I don't remember. Peter and someone else. I know Peter's one name. I remember because Peter is also the name of a rabbit in children's lore and children's books. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that they'll name that there's a famous rabbit named Peter. A lot of people just think rabbits will just sit there and eat some lettuce or something. But that's not true. Sometimes they get to work and they'll start their own lore. Pedo rabbit. Yeah, I need a little more dimension on this drawing. There we go. Dimension it up, buddy. Nick and Pete. Oh, okay. Pete and Pete. Did you ever see the show Pete and Pete? That was a good one. Pete and Pete. The one kid had a tattoo. Oh, that was so bad. Such a bad kid. And he never knew where he got it or something. He just woke up one day with a tattoo. That's some malarkey. I mean, come on now. Pete and Pete's way back. Fuck yeah. Yeah, that was when I was little. I thought that was cool. To me, that was like drama. Because I was such a cartoon kid, obviously. That was really all I would watch, really, was cartoons. My mom did let me and my brother watch Forrest Gump, which a lot of people don't know. Forrest Gump is a true story about a fictional character. A lot of people don't know that. But my mom wanted us to watch it. I think because of the historical implications, and also it was probably, women in cinema is a really interesting thing in a sense that there's this thing called the Bechdel test, which actually says that 98% of all women in cinema throughout the history of cinema, generally only if the characters do talk to each other, they only talk about another man. And I don't know what it is, but mostly there's just this very regressive roles. And that's, if you grow up watching that. But the interesting thing about the movie Forrest Gump is that Jenny really is, even though Jenny in hindsight didn't really make the best decisions, she did make her decisions. She was also, abused as a child and probably led to some of those bad decisions, but she just did her thing. And I think that that different people identify with that character. There we go there. So this guy here is not a real character. This is Oliver sleeping in her bed, and this is essentially Oliver's conscience. And Oliver's conscience is going to jump into her pupil, and then she's gonna have herself a gnarly little dream. So I want this to kind of be an important drawing. So we're gonna get a lot of texture on this. We're gonna really carve this one out. Generally, when I draw, what I do is I'll jump back and forth between different drawings because that's a good way to move forward in the process of production. But what I've noticed is that when I do that, I lose my viewers. And I was thinking, well, you know what it probably is? They probably are looking at the drawing going, I wonder where he's going to go with this. And I don't go anywhere with it because I go to somewhere else. And then you see another drawing and you're like, I'm not attached to this drawing. I clicked on this video to see this drawing. And so I think that for the rest of this stream, I'm going to stick to this drawing. And we're going to try to get a really nice detailed panel out of this one. So you might say that inside of this head, this psyche, is a little bit of a brain. And I think that's true. I'm telling you, man, foot cam's going to bring in the eyes too. Yeah, you do say that. I really should just I read recently that the webcam or putting yourself on camera is really interesting to people. And I'm not opposed to that. I'm not hiding anything. And, hell, I'm actually not too bad to look at. But I think that for the most part, I'm just going to keep my head down a lot. So I don't know exactly what kind of setup I'm going to have. But I think it really is about time that I start streaming myself. Whatever I got to do to keep improving the stream to try to grow it, Whatever I got to do. Is it consistency? Yes. Is it hard work? Yes. Oh, the other thing, too, is that I have to be talkative. So what I decided to do throughout today was I just didn't talk to anyone. So the police came up to me and asked to see my ID, and I just played a moot. I just played moot because I was saving it for you people today. And that's what I have to do. I actually got fired from my job because my employer was like, TJ, what is going on with this? And I just looked at him and pointed my finger at my mouth to let him know that I wasn't talking, but I chose my middle finger, which actually made it look like I was flipping the guy off. Now, the thing is, the guy I work for is a very humble guy with really good emotional self-control. So it wasn't a problem until he was basically like, hey, listen, you either need to respond to me or I will ruin your life. And I was like, how could you do that? And he said, aha, you can talk. And I was like, yeah, that's true. I can talk. But the truth is, I'm trying to save it for my stream. And he goes, all right, girl, you do your thing. And I was like, all right, Gil, that's what's up. R.I.P. R.I.P. It's so dumb. R.I.P. I wonder if people would want to watch me play Fortnite. You think people would want to watch me do that? R.I.P. You and me. I'm feeling a little weird about these brain swirlies. What should we do here? All right, so we got a drawing. It's kind of coming out. The perspective's not too bad. Let's pull it out here. Yeah, this works. So the character is kind of facing towards the audience, which is kind of what we would call cheating towards the audience. We can see that Oliver's sleeping there. And maybe I could do a starting from here, or what I could do is I could do panels leading up to the brain, or Oliver's conscience rather, hopping onto the bed. And then what I want it to do is I want it to see like one of Oliver's pupils open and then to jump into the pupil. And then it will be inside of Oliver's dream, which is actually a sequence, might be one of the very first sequences that I came up with for this book. I was going to make the main character Oliver. So maybe after I get done with these next few scenes, I could extrapolate on Oliver. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Arnold. All right, well, let's make a decision. How big should this panel be? Should we go all the way? No, I think this is fine. And Oliver's, let's say Oliver, I haven't really designed her room. But let's just keep pushing this. We'll figure this out. This will work. And it's kind of tough. If there's a way for us to basically just expose that she's, yeah, I don't know. Mouths and eyes, they're so important. Let's am I gonna crush these blacks? No, not quite yet. Let's remove this. Okay, and then let's remove this. Okay. And then I'm going to make these all fully black, and then let's crush those, and then let's get in there and we'll drop the opacity here. And then I'll lay on top and get some detail in here. Try to get some, because I think I have the major, see, I haven't committed on this mouth though. Let's do that. Let's figure that out. So she's gonna, her eyes are here, right? Like, whoa, why is this not? There it is. Okay, so her eyes are here. So then these other eyes should be right here. Oh, that's what's missing. Now, I could say that her face is in the pillow. So actually, I would rather do that. Make it look really comfy. So why don't we do that? So even though her eye goes down there, it's kind of slipped underneath the pillow. Okay, I can accept that. All right, so let's do something with her mouth here, though, that works. It may not be able to happen here. Huh. Yeah, there we go. And it's still a little, I think actually kind of like a little ugly would be good too. A little ugly would be good. A little bit ugly for this panel's fine. Do you get an ad when you try to watch the stream? Asking for a friend. Maybe keep her mouth a little bit smaller, yeah. I got turbo. What does that mean? Is turbo the... What does that mean? No way, I got turbo. What's turbo? I don't know what that is. Also, let's shrink this guy a little bit, maybe. And keep the foot placement there. No ads? Oh, okay, cool. Do you pay for that? Big worth for an internet degen like me. Okay. Well, yeah, it's like $7. Yeah, I pay for YouTube Premium, but that's so expensive. but I hate ads. You know, I used to work in television, and I used to load ads on the shows, as weird as that sounds. And I started realizing, and that's actually when I stopped like enjoying television. The only time I watch television is if I have to for some reason. Maybe I'm hanging out with the fam or something they want to watch. And oh no, that's not right. I keep trying to move it around. I think that'll work. Why don't you just get your texture in there? Okay, chill out. Ads feel like TikToks now too. Feel weird. Dude, don't TikTok. I am more familiar with TikTok now than I've ever been. I wonder if I could just, oh, you know what? That cheek would probably cover up that eye anyway. Yeah, it would. It would, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would. So she really doesn't know what's going on. Yeah, it would. Yeah, TikToks are, that's a weird thing. TikToks in general. I think there's a little bit of malarkey going on with TikTok, and I can't really put my finger on it, but it's got a bigger base is what it seems like, if that makes sense. Like, it seems like you'll get more exposure on TikTok, but I really don't know. The one thing I do like about TikTok is that weird things are weird on there, and I kind of like weird. I kind of like the weird. I kind of like it. All right, let's go in here. Okay. I bet what people would really like is if I didn't work back and forth and just started moving forward, which eventually I'll get to that point. I keep talking about it, I know, but, you know, things take time. Things take time. I saw that there was a program that was marketing itself where you could just put a prompt in and it would make a graphic novel, or actually I think it was marketed as a comic book. And I was like, well, that's something that I have to look into. And so I looked into it, and no, it doesn't. It generates really cool panels, but they're not consistent, and there's not really, you know, if you don't have I could probably, actually, honestly, it's a tool that I could use. And, you know, if I have a hard time, because in a way, I mean, if I can really step up how fast I draw, would almost be around the same amount of time. But the difference is that for now, the computer's really giving you really cool images, but there's no narrative to it. But I haven't been a very good narrative storyteller, so it puts me in a very like step up your game, bucko kind of situation. So there is that. But anyway, yeah, no, I was generating stuff, and it was really cool. I mean, it did stuff that you asked it to do. The prompt would bring up stuff, but in no way did it really follow too much of a narrative. The theme was similar. It actually, as funny as it sounds, I draw very similar, and how I put my stories together is very similar to AI. So AI and I are actually thinking on similar kind of wavelengths. But I thought that the way that I approached the art was a unique way, and that would help me set myself apart. Well, boy, oh boy, has this been a rude awakening. There it is. There it is. The blanket will go that way. So the rude awakening is that I'm going to have to really do my homework with these stories from now on, because it's the story that's going to pull us in. I wonder how much longer it'll be until that happens. Was it that at Sports Illustrated, the CEO had to resign? I think it was the CEO or the editor had to resign because they were using AI generated stories, and they were faking the authors, the AI authors, and they were generating images of people and generating names and stuff. And the guy had been questioned about it, and he denied it. How come we live in a time, like, how come business is like wholly predicated on lies? Like, why do we live in a system where people are like, oh boy, I'm going to use my stream to get on my high horse. I just don't, like, for example, if, let's say, for example, I did a play here in Chicago. Chicago's got more mom and pop storefront theaters than anywhere in the world. It's actually pretty cool. There are more theaters in other countries, in Europe and stuff like that, but a lot of those are actually paid for by the state. Ours are actually like bare bones mom and pops, and some of them close, some of them don't make it. But my point is, let's say that you did a theater. Let's say I'm a stand-up comic, right? That's an easy one because it's just one person, right? And I go ahead and I bring all these people to the theater, and I have to, so the venue collects the tickets and they collect the money, and no matter what you say or what you think happened, you are, what's the word? You are in, I don't even know what the word is. Like, you are at the mercy of how kind they want to be about what they say about how much money they collected, how much it costs to do things. And if they lie about it, because you don't get to see all the numbers, if they lie about it, people say, well, that's business. And I'm seeing that everywhere. I'm seeing that in the toy industry. I've seen it in the movie industry, that they're just people who are, it's like, no, it's not business. You're stealing. And then they say, well, that's how business is done. It's like, well, okay, but then at least admit that you're stealing. And we're not seeing that out of people. And I'm starting to see this very unethical approach to business consistently. And it's breaking my heart because there's one major thing I thought about the world when I was a kid. I thought the world was filled with adults. I really did. And then when you grow up, you realize that's not true. What it is the world is full of kids who grew up. They just ran out of time to be kids, and now they're still kids. And the world has a lot of these people. I ain't no kid. Just because I draw cartoons doesn't mean I'm a kid. I am a kid at heart. But I can still be an ethical person. And it breaks my heart. But I think that the technologies that are coming out, with the blockchain and these different technologies that are coming out, you might be afraid of what AI has to offer, but to be honest, it's probably better than the system that we have right now. I mean, people are just ripping each other off left and right. I mean, I was listening to a story the other day. The people in the story will stay, I will not name them, but basically telling me that they had designed something with somebody, and in the process of it, they said they found them in a compromised state. Shout out to smart contracts. Yeah, smart contracts are going to be dope, dude. The only problem with the smart contracts, I'm a big fan of the idea, is that there's no third-party aggregate. What if the function doesn't work well? And then also, I think the other action would be, well, what are you going to use a smart contract for? I could see smart contracts working out really well for mortgages, actually, and a number of things. But for now, they're really cool ideas with no real-world implementation at the moment. But you're right, there will be. And also, what do you do when what happens when the smart contract doesn't work correctly? I mean, it's the same thing. Like, what if you lose all your keywords for your wallet? I mean, now what? Now you're that guy who's taken out loans to look for his thumb drive that's got $300 million worth of Bitcoin on it, and he still hasn't found it. I mean, imagine that, huh? But what was I talking about? They were talking about morals. We're talking about that. Yeah. No, I heard a story about someone who had designed a really cool toy that was going to make a lot of money. And they could tell that it was going to make a lot of money after a while. At first, they were like, but then they realized it was going to make a lot of money. And what they did was they gave him a contract to sign that was given to him in a very, kind of like time-sensitive moment. And they basically dressed the contract up as a non-disclosure agreement. But in the agreement, this fella gave up all of his rights to all of his work in that one document. And it was done over some friendly behavior. And I heard about this, and I found the whole idea repugnant, taking someone else's work. And it was followed up with, listen, this is the toy business. People have been ripping people off since Monopoly. That's just how it's done. And you know what? I don't like it, man. I really don't like it. I don't know if there's people out there who think the way that I do in this business. I mean, besides McGruff, obviously. But I can kind of see why the business is smaller. But, man, every single turn I take and I learn about people and these things, it just gets very uninspiring is one way to put it. So you got to read everything. You got to read every contract. I saw something similar. Actually, I can't talk about it because it's all searchable stuff, and I'm actually archiving these videos. But a colleague of ours, I'll actually say, interesting enough, a colleague of ours, an ex-colleague of ours, rather, wrote a movie and was able to secure funding for this movie. And he brought on some of what he thought were his most heavy-hitting colleagues for his, ultimate project. And some meetings were had, figuring out the details, and they brought in a producer who, honest to God, I don't know where they got this guy, because I don't think this guy's that big a deal. But anyway, they brought this other guy in, and he helped the process of finding the money and finding locations and yada, yada, yada. Not stuff that I think takes location scouting is pretty cool and important job. And you can be really good at that, because sometimes people don't see, you think that, going to the botanical gardens is really the best location, which isn't a terrible location. But having a good eye and finding a location that doesn't cost you a lot is good business. But anyway, he wrote this movie, he was producing it, and he was shooting it. And they had a meeting to go over how the rights of the movie are going to get broken up. And there was an aspect of the clause that basically wrote our friend out if the movie ended up making money that it never ended up making. But, they were basically saying if this turns into an incredible achievement, you know what I mean? Certain people are cut off, and then other people will keep making money, right? And so he read the contract, and he went to his close colleague, and he goes, this contract says that after everyone's been paid, that after I get paid my sum, I don't get any more back end, which would be just like, residuals over the years. And his colleague said, well, that can't be right. And he's like, I'm looking at it right here. And they're debating the language, right? That's what the crazy part about how, Anglo-Americans will, or not even Americans, but people in general will handle contracts, using tricky language and stuff. Have that golden tongue, ladies and gentlemen, that silver and golden tongue. But anyway, he went to his colleague and he goes, don't sign it. We'll talk about it later. And he had to throw a fit. And I can only imagine, he didn't write this portion of the story, but he basically told me, I'm assuming that the room immediately probably made him feel uncomfortable. But this guy, he's not swayed by that kind of stuff. Sometimes people can be swayed by groupthink. He's not. He can definitely be swayed by groupthink. I'll call him on that. But if he knows that something's right or wrong, he sticks to his guns. I mean, he's pretty pragmatic that way. And he had to have an argument for about 2 days until they amended the contract the way that was fair to him. Now, if he had just laughed along with them and had coffee and just said, oh, where do you want me to sign? Sign here? Sure. Wow, I can't believe it, guys. We're going to do this. This is really happening. He would have got ripped off. And these were people that he handpicked. Some of them. But the guy who actually drafted the contract was not his handpicked guy. But I do call into question his close confidant. Yeah, damn. And I bet you can guess who it is. His close confidant, who was probably aware of some of the trickery that was happening, so he wanted to play stupid. You got to look out for yourself, guys. You really do. And you got to make sure that you're in a corner with people that you trust. Because when you can't look over your shoulder, I mean, how could you all the time? You can't. So it's good to know. But then all of a sudden, if you end up with a den of sharks, and liars and thieves, I mean, that's a tough spot to be in. I've been there before. really like not to be anymore. But having said that, I thought I was on the up and up when I was at old Big Monster. And looking back, I reflect on that every once in a while. What I've picked up too late is anyone gives the hey, just sign the quick because yada yada yada, it's no bueno. Oh, yeah. Well, here's the thing. I will say this. If someone puts you under pressure, or if someone wants you to make a decision and they tell you you have to make the decision now, here's the trick. You say, all right, well, if I have to make the decision now, the answer is no. But if you're willing to let me think about it, then I'll think about it. But if you're putting me under pressure, the answer is no. And what they'll do is, and here's the interesting thing, when you're dealing with scammers, they're going to make the room uncomfortable. That's really one of their key moves, is to make the entire environment uncomfortable. Notice when you're being manipulated and scammed, what the room is like. Is it, I mean, it's definitely probably not going to happen at your house. You're going to be in a different environment. Are you amongst other people that you don't know that well? Are you actually signing a contract in front of a bunch of strangers or, whatever? Yeah. So, yeah, I think you're right, McGruff. That's really the way to go. Let's get some textures. I think this brain stuff's starting to look a little gross. Hopefully I can come up with something else. Let's keep going with the texture. Let's black it out. Yeah, time-sensitive stuff is a key indicator of that someone's trying to rip you off. It's interesting too is like, never mind. Yeah, I don't know. It's starting to break my heart a little bit. But I think the only thing I can possibly do is just try to do good business. But also, here's the other thing too. If you're a scam artist and you want to rip people off, I mean, should you be treated fairly then? Or should you fight fire with fire? Are you just going to be the Greeks? Remember what happened to the ancient Greeks? I mean, we're literally still living off of... The ancient Greeks is probably, as far as we know, because we don't know anything about the ancient Egyptians, and I know if you want to argue with me, you're welcome to, then you can generate some interest in my chat, but we don't really know anything about the ancient Egyptians. We really don't. There's a very good likelihood that they had technology that we don't have today, that they took their civilization in a direction that we did not take ours, and they've been able to do things that we can't do today. I mean, case in point, the pyramids. I mean, if our civilization crumbled for the next 250 years, I mean, our beautiful skyscrapers, I don't know what would happen to them, but I don't think they'd be standing anymore. I mean, they're beautiful and they're tall, but they're not that durable. Listen, cue the architect in the chat. But no, I mean, in comparison, they really aren't. And I really do think the Egyptians were like, well, we'll keep these up. These will last 10,000 years, It's an interesting idea. What was I saying? What the heck was I talking about? What the heck? Okay, here. Yeah, I think that if you're a person who rips people off, I think that... I was talking about the ancient Greeks. So the ancient Greeks... I mean, our entire government is based off the ancient Greeks. A lot of the architecture in the federal government is a nod to Greece because we've borrowed so much from them in the building of our civilization. But when I was a kid, I was taught that Americans invented democracy, which is such foobar. But it's good propaganda for a young kid who's pledging an allegiance to the flag before he signs up to go to war, So you start to think, we invented pants, But, what was I saying? Oh, the ancient Greeks, they actually started getting into some of the stuff that we're getting into right now when it comes to gender identity and things like that. Kind of interesting enough. But I don't really want to get into too much of that on the podcast. I keep calling this a podcast on the stream. Generally, I end the stream at 9 p.m., but I started a little late, and so I'm going to keep going. Maybe let's get some texture on this Kiki. Kabuki! Yeah, I ripped that off from CKY. I don't care. If Phil Margera wants to sue me, then let him. Send the cease and assist. Come on, Bam. Come on, Bam. Stop doing that, Bam. Hey, Phil, beat the shit out of you, Phil. Oh, beat the shit out of you. Oh, Phil, what an idiot. Oh, come on, Bam. Stop it. I'm just trying to sleep. And then we all loved it. Who didn't like CKY? I mean, come on. What's that song? I'm actually going to play it now because I like that song so much. CKY. What's that song called? It's got to be their best song, or the song that hits. It's got quite something like that. Oh, it's got Ryan Dunn in it. Brown, 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 brown. Some search. You ever heard this song, McGruff? This was my childhood. Oh, I've learned so much about you already. The seeds of your teenage angst. Oh, yeah. I feel so bad for Bam. I mean, it's self-inflicted, but man, he never grew up. It was like, Bam is, when you're a teenager and you're watching Bam Margera, you're like, that is the coolest thing, right? He's driving around that Audi and he's making his own money editing videos and stuff. But you don't realize, like, if you don't get out of that mode, what could happen? You know, and he's in that mode. He hasn't gotten out of it. And I'm sure we all know people like that. Every time I listen to Bam talk, it's always somebody else's fault. That's the sad part. He'll be back, though. Put some Z's on that girl. That's not how we do Z's. Man, that riff goes so hard. Yeah, it's good to see a lot of Jackass crew going sober now. Yeah, everyone except for Steve-O. He's boring. He's boring sober. Let a leech... Or Patrice O'Neal said at a roast. He goes, Steve-O, the new you is boring. Go let a leech bite your eyeball or something. I like that one. Oh, what's YouTube going to suggest after this? Lo-Fi Girl? What the hell? You know, I was once talking to a girl on Bumble, and she suggested a band. It's like Goth Girl or something. I can't remember what it was, but it was a really good band. Let's see. What's on the level of that? I would say... Uh-oh. if I listen to Tool, I'm going to lose the ability to monetize this video. But who even cares? It's really about making this book. No. I do like Tool a lot. Let's do my favorite Tool song, or it used to be my favorite Tool song. There we go. Sober Steve-O stunts feel harder to watch than before. Yeah. I never really was into Steve-O's like antics, honestly. But it's amazing what Jackass, the reach that Jackass had. And so I can see the irony of Bam Margera feeling some type of way, because he probably felt like he was keeping his mouth shut, you know, the whole time with Jackass, but then they kept including him, so he would get paid, you know, the whatever the fee was, like $1 million or $2 million or whatever. And so I think he was kind of like, okay, that's fine. And then when they kicked him out of this most recent movie, I think he was like losing his shit. But I imagine it's his fault. You know, it is probably a bummer though for him to see this and like, I don't know. Who was the one guy who was really talented from CKY? Brandon DeKalb or Deco or something like that was his name. He was the talent of the whole thing. He was the one who had all the skills. And you can't even get him on the phone anymore. Not be sober. Why can't we? Camilio? Yeah, Brandon. Yeah. I think they called him Deco. Ooh, we're starting to pull out something out of this scene. All right, these highlights are good, just so we know what to look at. I want to redo these brains here. Those are looking a little redundant. I will only complicate you. Trust in me and all is well. Time to crush the blacks again. Oh. Yeah, where's her other paw at? I dig how it's doing a typical cat thing to a cat. Oh, yeah, I didn't actually pick up on that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, thanks. That's like one of those things creatively that you accidentally, it's like a brilliant accident. Oh, I love this song. I don't mind stealing bread on the backs of decadence. Something like that. From the mouths of decadence. Oh, this song gets in my feels. They don't make music like this anymore. That's how old I am. Ooh, this should actually be more like this. When it's on the table. I need the lyrics. Okay. You know, that's on the table, the mouse are choking. I'm going hungry. I can see why people don't sing like this anymore. But it was cool at the time. Stealing bread from the mouth of decadence. Man, he's holding that note. See on the top. It's already over fear. Stone Temple Pilot, huh? Oh. But it's on the table, the fire's cooking. He's holding on to that note, man. Choking. Let's move this blanket down a little bit. Files are choking. I'm going hungry. This is the song I play if I work through lunch. Yeah, I'm going hungry. Yeah. I'm going hungry. Yeah. Can you imagine playing this for a bunch of high school kids nowadays? It is just not that kind of time anymore. I was like a little one when this kind of stuff was happening. I was so little. But I remember the vibe. Which actually the vibe matched living in the Midwest. That's one thing I do miss about this music, is that this is what overcast music is like. I'm hungry. Do you think that he goes hungry before he plays this song so that he gets in the mood? Overcast music, exactly. I mean, this music was inspired by Nirvana. This band was basically put together, or I don't know, they might have been, I don't want to take away their credibility. Stealing bread. Oh no. Do you think Brian and Sam mind stealing bread? I don't mind. I'm going hungry. I'm going hungry. He just yelled that he was going hungry a bunch of times, and the song is now over. Interesting. You know, someone pointed out to me that I'm actually one of the very few... Oh! What happened to this band? Feeling short out stable. All that she intends. All the sheep's inside. Wishing... I don't remember the words. She's ashamed, but she take me for a while. I used to have the CD. Friend, but you just pass, which are not able. Can been there and now. Will we ever be again? A lot of sad music. I was just a boy with a lot of feelings, huh? That's all it was. We're sure to fade away again. Reality is favor. What are we gonna do here? It's our fools that fall behind. Alright, so we got the lines in here. Let's pull it out. It's not doing enough for me. I need more for this drawing. Well, let's just punch in and get more texture in. The band. There and now, will we ever be again? 'Cause I have found all that shimmers in this world is sure to fade away again. Too far away for me to hold, too far away. I think I read in a book recently, David Foster Wallace said that if you live for your looks or for vanity, you shall die 3 lives at least, and that you'll die before a natural death. So committing to a life of vanity is setting yourself up for a really agonizing end, because all, like this song says, all that shimmer fades with time. Too far away from me to hold, too far away. Too far away from me to hold, too far away. Too far away from me to hold, too far away. Man, I do like to sing. Away from me to hold, too far away. Ooh, what about the little meats on the inside? Where should we put this paw? There's something wrong here anatomically. I mean, that's actually kind of close, but I don't like to confuse the audience anymore. I feel like I confuse my audiences a lot, and I think that that's something I don't want to do. I want things to be clear. A lot less ambiguity. I never knew who said it, but I remember the 3 deaths thing. Yeah, are you familiar with David Foster Wallace? He was a contemporary writer in the 90s who was considered, a lot of people consider him maybe the greatest novelist or writer in English history. So there's Shakespeare, but I mean, I think we've all started to accept that Shakespeare didn't write all those plays, that he just put his name on them. Kind of similar to the first conversation we had. But the greatest writers would be Tolkien is the greatest fiction writer, right? The greatest fantasy writer because he invented the genre. But then you have like Samuel Clemens, and then you have a bunch of other contemporaries. But as that era in the 90s, there was a guy named David Foster Wallace who wrote this book called Infinite Jest, which is like, I don't know how many pages that is, but it's huge. It's huge. And actually, I started to rub elbows a little bit with some Chicago intellectuals when they saw that I put out this graphic novel, and they invited me over for a party. And I mean, it didn't have anything to do with me. It was a housewarming party. But after I started talking to these people, they were like, "Have you ever read this? Have you ever read this?" And I'm like, "No, I am not well read." And I could tell that they just were not impressed with me at all. They actually thought I was laughable. But from their perspective, I could kind of see where they're coming from. I mean, I'm not at the moment, not really that guy. But anyway, I digress. So everyone reads this guy, and he wrote very prolifically. He actually took his own life, sadly, in the 90s. But he taught at the University of Boston, and I don't remember exactly what the class was he taught, but he was a professor for both Bill Burr at one point and Paul Thomas Anderson, who both only went to University of Boston for 1 year. And they happened to take his class, and I actually heard somebody ask Bill Burr about that, and he goes, yeah, I did take him, but I didn't know how important that guy was. All I remember is he used to say fuck a lot, and I thought that was awesome. But no, I had no idea who that guy was. I mean, he was a good professor and everything, but no, I had no idea that I was taking, a class with a guy like that. And then P.T. Anderson took him, and then I think P.T. Anderson actually dropped out of college shortly out of that. I think he transferred. And Paul Thomas Anderson, if you don't know, is you should know, is an American director who's directed Boogie Nights, There Will Be Blood, Magnolia, Punch Drunk Love, number of movies, but they're one of the best filmmakers on earth. I mean, he's up there. I don't even know what the top 5 are. All right, let's make a top 5 list. Who are the top 5 directors making movies today? Let's make a list. No particular order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So no particular order. So we're just going to list them. We'll rank them later. So let's put the obvious ones, right? We have Tarantino, which he's kind of like a Shakespeare in a way because the language in his movies are very unique. I would say Christopher Nolan. Scorsese. Oh, I don't even know how to spell Scorsese. Oh, Alanis Morissette. Don't stop it here. But let's do this. Martin Scorsese. Kubrick's dead. But Scorsese. But Kubrick would probably be... No, he's really... I mean, I can see why he's kind of polarizing. Well, because he was such an asshole to his cast and crew. But I grew up in very abusive environments, so I don't really think about that stuff. I'm glad that everyone else is trying to get out of it, but it doesn't really affect me as much. So the empathy isn't there. Yeah, you got me on camera saying that. All right, Martin Scorsese. Oh, I never knew how to spell that. Scorsese. It's not how I thought it would be. Oh, alive. Yeah. So actually, Stanley Kubrick is probably the greatest of all time. Kubrick. I mean, maybe Orson Welles, but Kubrick's probably that. So I'd say Nolan, Tarantino, so P.T. Anderson. And then what? Darren Aronofsky. Well, I'm going to have to see how to spell his name now, too. Darren Aronofsky dated Jennifer Lawrence. So it's Aronoff. He's interesting. Aronofsky's interesting. He was a Harvard guy who was embarrassed to major in film. So I think he majored in journalism to keep his parents happy. Tarantino, Nolan, Scorsese, P.T. Anderson. There's got to be somebody I'm missing here. That might be the list. Best directors alive. Yeah, no ladies on the list. Francis Ford Coppola. Oh, wow. Yeah, he's really good. I'm not putting him on the list, though. David Lynch. He's not making the list. Werner Herzog. He's really good, but he's not. Miyazaki. Miyazaki's on here for sure. I don't even think you don't even have to put Miyazaki. In my opinion, you don't even have to put an asterisk that he's an animation guy. I mean, the rest of those guys, they wouldn't be able to pull that off. Ridley Scott's good. Oh boy, Steven Spielberg. I knew I was forgetting a big one. It's because he's been around so long. Fuck yeah. Spike Lee, no. Jean-Luc Godard, no. Adam McKay, he's good. Quentin Tarantino, nope. This is my list. All right. So maybe we don't do a top. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm actually going to take the time and I'm going to rank them. My personal list. So let's see here. Tarantino's great. I love his stuff. The one thing that gets really difficult, and I kind of think he felt like he could see this coming, was that he does have a bit of a formula, and so it's tough. George Lucas does not make the list. I'm sorry. George Lucas stopped after he got Star Wars. He started making toys. He started using his models and turning them into toys. And so that's great. I mean, he built an empire, but that I think kind of makes him drop off the list. Now, if you were saying individual accomplishments, yeah, Star Wars might be one of the single greatest cinematic accomplishments of all time, up there with the Lord of the Rings writing works by Tolkien. Okay. So I'm not going to go, what we're going to do, let's do an elimination, because just picking number one doesn't really work, right? So Tarantino, way up there. Christopher Nolan still hitting bangers. Scorsese, very, very good. It's hard to take him off the list. P.T. Anderson, Aronofsky is really good. Miyazaki, Spielberg. Oh, goodness. I don't know what to do here, everybody. I don't know what to do. I'm going to knock Darren Aronofsky off the list. He's the first one to go. And then I'm taking Tarantino off the list. And now we have our 5. That was not easy to do. I want you guys to know that was a really hard thing to do. I would say that P.T. Anderson is incredible. I personally like his movies maybe more than anyone's outside of Miyazaki. But I'm going to have to say, oh, goodness. All right, let's just do this. Okay. Number 1, I'm going Miyazaki. Number 2, I'm going Christopher Nolan. Number 3, I'm going P.T. Anderson. No, that's not right. Number 2 is Scorsese. His stuff is just too good. So then, yeah, let's go to number 3, Christopher Nolan. Number 4, Spielberg. And number 5, Paul Thomas Anderson. That's my official list. All right, back to the work. I want you to know. Now, if you ask me that question a week from now, I might change my mind. But I really do think that Miyazaki is the best director alive. I mean, he fucking draws them, you fucking twerps. Get over yourself. I mean, come on. He draws it frame by frame. P.T. Anderson's great, but his greatest movies have Daniel Day-Lewis in them, you know? So, and he's incredible. I mean, he's the best actor alive, no doubt. But, you know, if you want to win an Oscar and you just put the camera in front of Daniel Day-Lewis, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I mean, Spielberg did the same thing with Lincoln. Rain on your wedding day. Mr. Afraid to Die. What are we going to do with this letter here? That you just didn't take. traffic jam when you're already late. Who's driving? On your cigarette break. It's like 10,000 spoons when all you need is a knife. None of these are irony, though. These are all coincidences. But still a good song. All right, building up this texture over here. Life is a funny thing. Ooh, voice crack. Voice crack in your face. Still a bop. Aw, she's talking about self-sabotage. Or maybe what I could do is I could pour the blanket over like this. Trying to make this kitty look comfy. Oh, come on, Alanis, take responsibility. And the door for me. Bud drools when he's comfy. Oh, when he's comfy? Yeah. Let's put some drools in there. Bud's a good boy. It's time for me to get a Kiki. Best friend with benefits. That's pretty good. Bro, I'll find you a keeper right now. A Kiki? I know, I need a Keek. especially for the next few months for the winter. And now that I've started to kind of slow down a little bit, and I was always worried about having a pet because I was always moving around and stuff, and my life was kind of chaotic when I was in college, you know, because college is so expensive and stuff. But now I think I could maintain a household. I don't want to risk the animal's life, you know. Head over feet. It's all your fault. Oh, this is starting to come around. This is probably the reason why I lose a lot of my viewers, is because I don't stick on the one drawing and I jump around and it doesn't get to this level of detail. And they're just kind of like, what am I watching? But this also, I bet they end up watching a lot of like people who are drawing kind of manga style. Even though I get labeled as manga, I'm really not. I'm still doing traditional American style. Pet Finder. Whoa. Let's take a look at these. Oh, look at this Maine Coon. House trained, yes. Vaccinations up to date. The name's Charm. Oh, it's a boy. His name's Charm. Is a sweet boy whose name's quite appropriately. He's charming indeed. He enjoys long cat naps in his favorite spot on the cat tree and being treated to delicious rotisserie chicken. Oh, I bet. The last one? All right. Oh, this is another Maine Coon. It's a chill one. It's a female. I think I'd like to have a girl. Not that with cats it doesn't really matter. They're basically the same temperament. She's neutered. She's a long hair. Oh, there she. There's a picture of her just hanging out. Still free. Yeah, she's a fluffy girl. I like this one. What do I got to do to get this cat? What's the next step? Oh, you got caught for saying coon. Allow. Oh, fuck. I guess that breed trips up. Well, because of the word coon. Yeah. So what do I got to do to get this cat? Bezos. Yeah, I don't know how it... So it asked me to allow it or not, and I'm allowing it. Oh. I guess I blocked the word coon. I didn't mean to do that. We shouldn't be saying coon anyway, so I'm okay with that. You call him? Where is it? Pet Finder. Oh, it's in Chicago? Yeah, maybe I'll take an Uber over there and get the cat. Maybe I'll try on Friday. Because I work tomorrow. But I don't be working on them Fridays, though. It's kind of nice to do. This is the point where you get to the step where you can start taking away, and it has significant effect on the... You talked to our boy Joel lately? Maybe around Rogers Park, at least where the rescue is. Oh, I live across the street from Paws. Like literally across the street from Paws. But I think that Paws is not where you adopt pets. I think it's where they like the veterinary is or whatever. So I should walk in there and chat with them. That'd be a good move. Won't you first me? Is she perverted like me? Oh, this didn't live up well. Go down on you in a theater? No, people are doing stuff like that nowadays. Alanis seems like text a little with him today. He's going in on Pinyi food, so he was flexing. Oh, I respected it. Pinyoy? I don't think I know what that is. I didn't know he had it like that. I was a little worried about him. I was thinking about him today. He's probably enjoying his time off. Oh, Filipino. Who is he hanging out with? You should know. Yeah, I haven't talked to him since James's birthday. I haven't talked to James either, actually. Oh, he's got fam in town. Oh, wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. Till you're still alive. She's got a cross to bear. That's really funny. I forgot about that part. For the cross I bear, because you left her. Yeah, buddy, seems like you really missed out on something there. It's funny, actually, with these drawings, it's the little tiny decisions you make that really resonate. So actually, the drawings aren't that much fun until they get to about this point, honestly. Building up to here, it takes a lot of work. But once you get to this point... Damn. She's like, I'm having sex with other men. Stupid. When you went away, she was a mess. Man, this is good music, though. This is kind of like a feminist... Kind of like, I'm a problem, get over it. Like, kind of, I don't know, it's punk. She really nailed it with this. I don't really know of anyone. I would say like Nicki Minaj and who's the other chick? Who's the one who did Wet Ass Pussy or whatever? She would be more of a contemporary Alanis Morissette. In a sense, not quite having the same message. Because Alanis Morissette is just kind of like, yeah, I'm a problem, get the fuck over it. And not Nicki Minaj, what is her name? God, I just don't resonate with these folks that well. I sound like an old man. Would be what the hell is her name? I have to look it up. Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. Cardi B's a little bit different. That's not about, well, I guess it is, it's women's lib in a sense, but it's her ability to kind of be as promiscuous as she wants to be and avoiding the shame that comes with that. That's kind of what her message is. I mean, she might not agree with me, but that's kind of what I pick up from it. But when I listen to Alanis Morissette, I kind of like, yeah, she's naked on the train. She's just provoking, you know. Thank you, silence. We're getting somewhere with this drawing. All right, we're going to go. I have to work tomorrow, but I don't have to work the next day, so I can force my way through it. Thank you, thank you. I always thought she was saying thank you, Silas. But she's actually saying thank you, silence. Which could be a trivia question I can answer on To Catch a Predator. Should I draw and also put To Catch a Predator videos while I react to them? Is that interesting to anyone? I still think that's some of the most entertaining media there is that show. I think Chris Hansen is just, I mean, what great work he did. Jesus. I don't know. What do you think would happen if I did that? I think it'd be fine. I think you can do reaction videos. But it's such a awful thing. It would really muck up the whole process. Working on some shading with "Why Don't You Have a Seat" goes on in the background. Yeah, let's go for it. I wonder how, now I'm worried about the audio. It'll have to be, I really should set this. You know what this means? Twitch wouldn't care anymore. YouTube robots are spicy though. Well, the thing is that you can do YouTube videos where you react to other people's stuff. You know what this means? Here's the thing. I have worked in production studios my entire professional career. I mean, I've literally been getting paid to be, essentially a technician in these really complex studios. I never guessed that I would build my own at some point, because my point is I'm going to play this and it's going to have to play through the microphone. So it's not going to be that great for the viewers. But once I get the webcam in here, and I'm also going to have different avenues of media to feed in and out, I really feel like this streaming show is just going to keep upgrading, which will be something I'll probably bring up in the Rufus Group thing. Also, I've been doing Rufus Group stuff, but I haven't called any meetings because I just figured we'll chill out for the rest of the year. Let's see. To Catch a Predator. All right, let's see what we get. All right, let's check it out. All right, so we got To Catch a Predator, a full episode. Okay, interesting. Jeff Sokol. Heard about this guy. Oh, these are ones from Greenville, Ohio, where I'm from. Ooh, it might be interesting to watch some Ohioans. They're probably all dopey and boring, though. Fort Myers, Florida. Okay. To Catch a Predator. Oh, these are new ones. Law and Crime. Chris Hansen busts in Michigan. He's still working, dude. Oh, this is a good one. Ain't nothing funny going on here, dude. You want to fight? Oh, Lord. Dan Allen. Unedited original. All right. So this is my reaction to Dan Allen. Oh. Looks like I'm going to have to.
Good. How are you? All right. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on?
I just meeting a friend that I met on the internet.
Really?
Yeah.
And who's your friend who you met on the internet?
Sam.
Sam.
Yes.
And Sam is who?
Person I met off the internet.
Man, woman?
Oh, it's a girl.
It's a girl.
I don't know how old. That's why I'm here. I'm just curious.
You're just curious?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't bring any booze with me. I didn't.
Condoms?
Didn't bring any condoms. No.
Just showed up because you're curious.
Yeah. I mean, my car's out.
Please relax.
No, you made me nervous. My car.
Hello.
There we go. Try something new.
Come on over here and have a seat, please.
Oh, jeez.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on?
I just meeting a friend that I met on the internet.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Who's your friend who you met on the internet?
Sam.
Sam.
I wonder if it's the Sam we know.
Sam is who?
Person I met off the internet.
Man, woman?
Oh, it's a girl.
It's a girl.
I don't know how old. That's why I'm here. I'm just curious.
Hey, he's just curious.
I didn't bring any booze with me.
He didn't bring any booze.
Condoms?
Didn't bring any condoms.
Didn't bring any condoms.
Just showed up because you're curious.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
my
curiosity.
car's outside.
Please relax.
No, you made me nervous. My car's outside. I can prove that to you.
Oh, his car is outside. He can prove it.
I'm sure it is.
Did he fart?
But you know, I mean, it's
The guy farted.
absolutely curiosity that got me.
Curiosity.
Dan.
Dan. And what's your last name?
Alan.
Alan. And what's your screen name for your...
Hello.
Thanks.
Oh, people are editing in the farts.
Trying to be. No, I'm sorry. I don't know who you are. You're a policeman. Okay, I don't want to do this.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
You seem to have had a pretty sexually charged conversation.
As most people do on the internet. Yes.
Wonder if I can hang.
You're a 13-year-old girl.
I did. I never thought.
Just have a seat right over there.
I never thought that she was that age. That's why I was so damn curious that, you know, I mean, I was curious enough. I go, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't need this in my life. But I am curious. like I told her tonight. Or this.
Oh, the fart noises is ruining it. Ugh, that's heavy stuff, man. That's heavy stuff. Because you're really watching someone ruin their life. Isn't there a doctor catch a predator doctor. There's like a surgeon guy. He's a funnier one. Ah, here he is.
Men in the computer industry.
This guy's coming in. That could be the doctor.
But if there was a list of the most respected members of the community, a cancer research doctor would probably be near the top.
Hurry.
Good, how are you?
Could it be?
Cancer research doctor. Can you imagine the kind of money this guy makes? This is a good episode. Oh, you're suggesting an episode? Yeah, let's go for it. I will take your suggestion, my friend. What do you got? Oh, this is a good episode. Main code.
What's happening, puss? Okay. What else?
Do you know this, Kiki?
What are you going to do today?
Huh? You got another one? Throw me another link. Oh, were you kidding? Oh, did I put cats? Oops, my bad. Yeah, I'm sure it was a mistake. A cat probably likes the getting cleaned up. Can you imagine if I had trolls in here and I just looked at whatever links they gave me? Oh my god, that could be bad. Actually, this is good reference for Kiki's. At least they're not eating the fish. Those fish are like, what the heck? Yeah, this texture is starting to come together. It just takes a while to build it up. Yeah, I want a Kiki. I want a Kiki to hang out with me and be like, what are you doing? Why are you closing the bathroom door? They got to make sure you're safe and keep guard. You think cats keep guard? No. Yeah, I like this little one. It's got no chance. Meow, meow. Oh, listen, that's a loud purr. You got a good purr there, Kiki. Oh, that's not too bad. That was not an episode of To Catch a Predator. You tricked me. So back to Dr. Whalen.
This guy's coming in. That could be the doctor. Go to Mark 3.
This drawing's looking a little bit better.
Hey, made it. Come on back. Good, how are you?
This man is 48 years old, married, and a prominent San Francisco physician. It's hard to believe that someone of his stature would show up to meet a girl who said she was 13.
Oh my God.
Her into the backyard where she invites him to go in her hot tub.
Pour me a drink. I'm actually going to fly into the States. Maybe we can get in the hot tub because it's all warm.
He met the girl online 3 days earlier. The girl was really a perverted justice decoy pretending to be 13. Using the screen name Tall Dreamy Doc, he lies and says he's 29. Remember, he's really 48. He asks the girl, what bra size do you wear? She
Oh,
says,
God.
30B, but it's kind of big on me right now. I'm still growing. He replies, I will kiss them.
Oh,
Into
God.
graphic detail about giving and receiving oral sex, and later says, I'm horny for you, and asks her to masturbate while thinking of him. He tells her several times he could get into trouble, but it isn't enough to stop him from coming over and helping himself.
You should know I could get in trouble. And then he spills his margarita.
San Francisco.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, so there probably was a lot of traffic, huh?
Do you have a towel?
As the doctor looks for a towel, he spots Dateline's camera crew.
You gotta take off. Sir? I need to talk to you for a minute.
He runs, but he doesn't get very far.
Oh, so he never has a conversation with Chris. Ah, that's what I wanted.
Get his keys. I wasn't doing anything. Oh, man, I wasn't doing anything. Get his keys. I wasn't doing anything.
And like all the other men caught in this investigation, from used car salesmen to engineers to Marines, he goes through the same procedure. First,
All right, that's all I wanted to see. Okay, so let's fill this up. I actually feel that kind of stuff makes me feel kind of weird. Look at this. Not a bad drawing, huh? It's got some texture in it. It's got some feel to it. You know, this started as nothing. Now we have something. It needs a little bit more work to make it pop, but I think we have the information we need. Honestly, I could probably move on from this drawing here. You know, what's crazy about these drawings is I could go on forever. I mean, it's never really done, right? You just stop. Yeah, cat videos do make you feel good, though. That's true. That's true. I was more or less doing a reaction video. And my reaction is that it made me feel kind of sad. Because even though it's satisfying to see somebody, you know, get caught red-handed, I mean, it is really devastating in a sense. I thought it was going to be a little more entertaining. Yeah. So where are we at here? We are at a stream of 2 hours. All right. And it is my bedtime. So let's save this. And we are going to call that the end of today's stream. Now, I generally only do Monday through Thursday streams, but I really do imagine that tomorrow I'll stream for, well, tomorrow's Thursday. So yeah, I'll stream tomorrow for an hour. But since tomorrow I don't work on Thursday, or excuse me, I don't work on Friday, I'll stream all the way through the evening. For the most part, I really want to draw as much as I possibly can, and then look at what I have by 2024 and come up with a comprehensive schedule, and figure out when we're going to be able to release this book. All right. So this is a good one. I think that staying on one drawing is good for the streams. I think that being talkative is good for the streams. I think reacting to Catch a Predator may not be the best for the streams. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. And I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.